I don't. Hello and welcome to the #1 father-son Patriots podcast in the world. My name is Brady Goldman, the son of Russell Goldman, and that's Russell Goldman right over there. How we doing?
We're doing good. Thank you for doing that, Brady. And this is actually our very first episode.
Oh
It's
yeah,
actually a brand new podcast. It's called Patriots 4th and 2, The New Generation. And
the
in
new
this
generation.
episode, New Generation, in this episode, Brady and I are going to be sharing our Patriot stories. And then on top of that, we're also going to be talking about a lot of topics in Patriots 4th and 2 talking points. We've got a lot of topics to get through in this show. But Brady, I look forward to doing this with you. We're going to be doing several episodes throughout leading up to training camp, and then we'll go into training camp. Then we're going to be doing it during the season. This should be fun.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
should
of
be
any
exciting.
other father and son podcast that talks Patriots, so it's going to be me and you. Are you excited to doing this with me?
Yeah, like I said, #1 father-son Patriots podcast in the world. Let's get it.
Okay. All right. So, to introduce this new podcast, I do want to mention that we will have a YouTube channel. It's not active yet to go live, but I actually have a scroll. And I do want to mention, if you can, once you get that YouTube channel, you're interested, please do subscribe and like to the Patriots 4th and 2, the New Generation YouTube channel. This should be fun. And if you do like that, when we do go live, you'll get updates on that. Okay. So to start the podcast, I thought the best way to do it is really to talk about our story. It's kind of like our origin story. But before I do that, I want to talk about the history of Patriots 4th and 2. And you are very aware of this, Brady, but I want to make sure the audience is aware that Patriots 4th and 2 started in 2011 with myself, Steve, Derek, and Damian Jarrett. It was actually the four of us who started the show. And about a year into it, then it became me, Derek, and Steve. And we did it for several years together. And it's something that I'm very proud of. I know the guys are proud of as well. And we saw a lot of good times during that show. It was just a lot of good fun to do. Well, just recently, the guys went out to do their own show, and they are doing a wonderful job. And I want to mention this. Please do check out Patriots No Huddle. This is with Steve Balestrieri, Derek Havens, who hosts it, and Mike Diabate. It's a great show. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcast to this show. It's a wonderful show. They're doing a great job, Brady, and I hope that
Yeah.
you actually listen to the show as well. They recently had on Karen Garigian. They had on Chris Price. They're getting some great guests, but they do some wonderful content on the Patriots. So I would highly recommend listening to Patriots No Huddle. Okay. So let's start our show by talking about our Patriots story, and then I'll go to you and you could talk about your own journey being a Patriots fan and how you got your name. I know
Yep.
you're going to love talking about that. But
Say it for the 1,000th time, please. Just
uh,
say it. He tells the story every day to me. Practically, it feels like every day, but yeah.
okay, we'll get there. But I do have to share our own family's Patriots story, okay? Because it
Here we
starts
go.
before you. I know you're like, here we go. Here he goes going through it again. But I will mention that how we started was myself and your mother, we were Patriots fans going way back. That's actually how we started becoming a family was me and your mother were huge Patriots fans. And then that all led up to having a family, and we spent so many memories. Basically, I call it becoming a Patriots family. Samantha, me, you, and your mother. And we had some great times, wonderful times, been to so many games, and you know this. So, what happened after that is really talking about you come along, Brady. So, let's talk about your Patriot story and how you got your name.
Yeah, so obviously I'm named after Tom Brady because whenever my mom and dad had a kid that was a boy, they were like, "Let's name it after the first quarterback who gives the Patriots a Super Bowl." That person was Tom Brady. That's why my name is Brady. As far as how I became a fan, so
Yes.
basically for the first, I don't know, like 9 years of my life, I hated sports. I love video games. I just didn't want anything to do with sports. I thought they were stupid. I didn't like them. That all changed though with a little game called Super Bowl 51. The Patriots, everyone knows they were down 28-3, and for some reason I felt a connection to the team. I was really invested all of a sudden. I didn't know why, but I told my dad and my mom, I'm like, you made me care. And from that point forward, I was a diehard Patriots fan. I started watching mainly in the 2017-2018 season. Of course, the Brandon Cooks years. And then, it's been pretty up and down ever since. Of course, got to see the Patriots lose to the Eagles in the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 52 and then win, of course, the Super Bowl 53. A very underrated Super Bowl. A lot of people think that game is pretty bad, but it was just great defense. But yeah, still a diehard Patriots fan. Of course, recent years, it's been kind of rough with the team, but hopefully a pretty optimistic season coming up and hope they can get a little bit better.
Okay. One thing I want to mention, Brady, I know you were young, but how much do you remember your parents screaming when Malcolm Butler intercepted the pass?
Yeah,
I
remember I didn't understand it, but I knew it was big. But other than that, I didn't really care. I remember being like questioned about it in school, like the next day, like, oh, what was your reaction to the Malcolm Butler interception? But other than that, I didn't even know what was happening. I knew it was good, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So that basically just gets us up to date. The reasons why I wanted to mention this to start the show is that we really are a Patriots family. And let me ask you this. How do you feel now about being named after Tom Brady? Because I never asked you this. Has that been a burden of any kind to you?
No. I mean, it's just my name. It's that simple. I don't really care. I mean, it's great that, named after someone who's amazing, but I mean, it's a common name at this point. Or I mean, it's my name, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get to it, Brady. So this is a section I'm calling Patriots 4th and 2 talking points. So
Great.
I have several topics for us to go through. And I've not done a show in a long time. And we talk at home. We disagree a lot. So that's why I also thought it'd be interesting. The reason why I'm calling it the new generation is that Brady and I really don't see eye to eye much on the Patriots. I thought it might be interesting to go through.
Yeah.
Talking Pats whenever we do shows. But this one, again, is interesting because I'm curious your thoughts, Brady. Let's first talk about Mike Vrabel and your thoughts of him becoming the head coach and also your thoughts on the return of Josh McDaniels. Give me your thoughts on both of them.
I think both hirings are great. Mike Vrabel, he's a decorated coach. He was great for the Titans. I mean, the way out wasn't that great. I mean, they didn't finish that well, but obviously coach of the year. He transformed a pretty mediocre roster into a Super Bowl contended for a couple years. So I'm very confident with Mike Vrabel. Of course, he played here. He knows the system. He's much more of a, obviously you would say a player's coach, but he's kind of in the middle of, I'd say, Gerard Mayo and Bill Belichick in terms of being a hard ass and also, complimentary to the players, which I think in today's day and age of the NFL is what you need. I mean, I think a mix is great. Josh McDaniels also is just a great hire because, he knows the offense. Obviously, Mac Jones, we learned, was not a very good quarterback, and Josh McDaniels sure fooled the world because in 2021, the Patriots offense was one of the best in the league. And
That's right.
I hope that with him, they can get back to that mountaintop of being one of the premier offenses in the NFL.
Okay, very good takes there, Brady. Let's start with my thoughts on Vrabel and what you said. Actually, I'm going to agree with you 100% on the fact that he's kind of in between what the last two coaches were. He is not Belichick. I think he has the discipline that Belichick had. He's going to build a culture, which Belichick had as well. Yep. But he's right in the middle because I would say that Gerard Mayo was a player's coach. And so I think he's kind of a mix of both, Brady. So I think you really got that right when it comes to Vrabel. And Vrabel as a player was one of my favorite players. I don't know if I ever told you that, Brady. He really was because hard-nosed, his players are going to want to play for him, but he's going to expect a lot from his players like Belichick would. So it's almost like he's going to be doing a little bit of both. So that kind of where I see it, just like you said, he falls in the middle. And I think it might be the perfect mix. And I
Yeah.
expect a lot from him. It's funny because he was not my first choice to become the Patriots head coach. But the more I think about it, I think he's the right hire for the Patriots. I truly believe that. So I think you nailed it on Vrabel.
Well,
Now
hang
let's
on.
talk.
Who
Go
was your
ahead.
first choice? Who did you want, Russ?
Who, who said you could call me Russ? I would say a former defensive coordinator for the Patriots. Let's see if you can figure this one out. He was the former coach of the
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores is who I wanted,
He
Brady.
didn't work out with the Dolphins, but okay, yeah.
So the reason why I wanted Flores is that honestly, I saw him as being closer to Belichick, but I understand why they went with Vrabel because Vrabel is the mix, right? Vrabel is actually right in the middle. But
It's
I
also
wanted,
a less risky hire.
yes, he's a little bit riskier,
Less
less
risky
less risky than
because he
someone
has all
like
those,
Flores.
yeah, all that history.
But I thought Flores would have been an exceptional coach. And I still think he will be someday. I think he should be a head coach again. So for
Okay.
me, I wanted Flores because I
Mhm.
really liked what he brings to the table. But there's nothing wrong with Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, Brady, I think has already proven to be a winner in the NFL. That's why I feel very strongly that the Patriots are going to be heading in the right direction, partially because of Vrabel.
Yeah,
But I
you got to
also,
establish a winning culture.
yep, he's going to establish that winning culture. But let's now get my thoughts on McDaniels. Now, there are many here that don't like the McDaniels hire, Brady, because I think part of it has to do with they want the Patriots to have a different style of offense, maybe from the McVay, that kind of style offense.
Yeah.
That West Coast offense, which they just recently had, which I didn't like at all. The reason why I wanted McDaniels back has to do with the fact that I want Drake May to be making the decisions.
hmm
I don't want the offensive coordinator to be making the decisions. I want the quarterback to be making the decisions. And that's what's going to happen under McDaniels. That's what happened with Brady. You mentioned Mac Jones. He made Mac Jones a
Oh, look like an
viable NFL
all-pro. I
quarterback.
mean, he made him a Pro Bowler. I
That's
mean,
right.
another element to it is that you need some continuity with the offensive coordinator. I mean, since McDaniels left, we've had what, two different offensive coordinators, and then return McDaniels. We need some continuity. We know that McDaniels is not going to be a head coach in the NFL ever again. I mean, with the Raiders and with the Broncos, I mean, just to say, I mean, he was not very good. So we need someone that'll be here long term, where Drake May can learn under him and actually, play multiple seasons with a consistent offensive scheme.
So I agree with all that, Brady. But here's one other thing that I want to mention because when you look at Drake May, we're going to talk about him a good amount in this episode in a couple different spots. But one of the reasons why I'm so happy that McDaniels is back is that I think he will put Drake May in the right position to succeed as a quarterback. Because this goes back to my argument with the Gerard Mayo experience that, again, his offensive coordinator, he was calling the shots.
Yeah.
Drake May will now have the ability to change the play at the line of scrimmage. It won't be the center making the calls. It will be Drake May making the calls. He will be making all the decisions. That's what I want. That's what the quarterbacks that have succeeded here had. Matt Castle succeeded here.
Yep.
I would even say Cam Newton on some
Yeah. Oh,
levels
yeah.
succeeded here.
Yeah.
And because they were running the Patriots offense that Brady ran. Now, it's not going to be run exactly the same. It's going to be a little bit different. It'll be tailored to Drake May. But
Yeah.
if you truly want Drake May to be the quarterback we all want him to be, Brady, it needs to be in his hands, not in the offensive coordinator's hands.
I agree. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Topic number one. Let's move on to topic number two. I know you want to talk about Stephon Diggs. So let's talk about Stephon Diggs, okay? What do you make of his situation? And are you happy that he is now a Patriots player?
Yeah. So, the whole yacht, purple substance incident. I mean, right now it's a small thing, but if it, gets worse as the season goes on, like if the Patriots start going on a losing streak and we see pictures of him partying with Cardi B, like say like on the bye week or something, or right before a crucial game versus like Cincinnati or something, I think that's pretty bad. Right now, I wouldn't worry about it. It seems like they've kind of got him under control. They got him at OTAs this week, which was pretty big considering, he didn't have to show up, but he did. And am I happy he's a Patriots player? Oh, yeah. I mean, we need him to be productive. I mean, the Patriots haven't had a really productive season from a wide receiver since like Kendrick Bourne did it like a couple years ago. And to an extent, Demario Douglas has kind of been that. But you need Diggs to be the leader. He's a veteran. He can lead this wide receiver room that's been pretty lost over the last couple of years. A lot of rookies, a lot of rookie mistakes. Like he needs to let players like Kayshon Boutte or even, like Demario Douglas, even Jalen Polk to an extent to step up and just be better.
Okay, so here's my take on Stephon Diggs. And it's funny because right before we went live, I was talking to Derek, our good friend Derek. And him and I were talking about it. And Derek actually is hearing some of the things that I'm hearing as well, that Stephon Diggs has been a good teammate so far. Now,
Yeah.
Let's throw out the window the situation with what happened in the media and on Instagram. I could care less about that. As long as he is a good teammate, Brady, that's all I care about. I'll use the example. I was not in favor of him coming here. I will say that. But if he is a good teammate and if he helps the Patriots wide receivers get better, and that's what I'm hearing so far, then I can get on board with it. I have an issue with the Patriots having this quote unquote number one receiver.
He's not a number one. He's old.
Yep.
He's not going to be that.
Okay. We'll talk about that next.
They can use him as a deep threat, but yeah.
Yes. But here's the thing. If he gets on board with the culture that Vrabel is building and is a piece of the pie, I can be on board with him being a Patriots player. Okay. Mm-hmm. At first, I was completely against it. Anyone that knows me knows I was not for Diggs. But so far, what I'm hearing and what Derek is hearing too is that he's been a good teammate. That's all I care about. That's all I want, is that he helps that wide receiver room get better. Those players get better. Yep. Because I will tell you right now, Corey Dillon, when he came to the Patriots years ago, there were doubts about him. Would he be a good teammate? His first couple of years, he was a very good teammate. He wanted to be part of the team. I could even say the same thing for Randy Moss, even though I wasn't for Randy Moss. Same thing. Mm-hmm. It might be a couple of years with Stephon Diggs and then you move on from him. But if you get the best of him for a couple of years, Brady, I can be on board with this player helping the team.
Yeah, and you're not asking for a lot. You need like maybe 700, 800 yards out of him, 6-7 touchdowns. You just need him to be productive. Like I said earlier, like the Patriots just need a receiver who you can throw to, like a reliable receiver. Like, of course, Demario Douglas has tried to fill that role. I hope he does. Yeah. But, he just needs to assimilate to the system, and that'll really depend if he's good or not.
Right. And that's going to lead us to talk about this. Because I am one that does not want the Patriots to need this number one receiver. I'm talking about Randy Moss. You just said that you don't think Steph Diggs is going to be that player. I don't think he is either, partially because of his age, but it's that attitude. I don't think that they need this receiver, Brady, and I'll explain why. I've done this show many times where I've made the argument with Derek and Steve. They don't need this receiver. They need a complementary wide receiver. And I always use the example of the receivers that they've had in the past. You're talking about the Danny Amendolas, the Julian Edelmans. They've had so many receivers that were Troy Brown, that were very good receivers, that were just part of the puzzle. If Diggs is part of that, I'm fine with it. But I don't want the offense to be about the number one receiver, meaning you have to get him the ball. I want Drake May, Brady, to find the open receiver. That's what Brady did. I want to get your thoughts. Do you still think they need a number one receiver? It's fine if you do.
I'm kind of split on this, to be honest, because at the same time, yes, the Patriots in the past have had great, number 2, number 3 options, Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan.
Deion Branch.
These guys who can just get you catches. They didn't really care about being the number one. But at the same time, that was in the past. Like we're talking 10, 20 years ago. This is today's NFL in 2025, where the Philadelphia Eagles just won a Super Bowl with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being kind of both number one receivers. And they've shown that offenses can really be productive with that, and they can be winning. So, yeah, I'm kind of split on this. I still would like to see, a guy go for 1,000 yards because I would, just the Patriots, they need a guy who can get them a lot of touchdowns and really just get them in the end zone. And a number one receiver will do that. But, at the same time, number one receiver can, it can cause a lot of problems with, I want the ball, I'm a me guy, but kind of split.
Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because my whole issue with this number one receiver situation is I don't want a me guy. I want a team guy. And the best example I can give you, I just mentioned him, is Deion Branch, Brady. This is before your time, obviously. He was considered probably their number one receiver at the time, but he was never that diva receiver. He was just part of the team. There were so many receivers that they've had over the years that were just that type of player. I don't want someone that feels that it's about them. It needs to be about the team.
Okay, well, my question is to you. Can you name any offense right now in the top 10 of the NFL that does not have a number one receiver?
No. So You're probably right about that, because that's been the argument against me is that the league has gone in a different way. So I definitely understand that. I get that, Brady. But I don't want the Patriots to be the rest of the league. I think that's kind of where I'm going on this, is that I want the Patriots to be who they are. I don't want them to be that they have to copy the rest of the league. What made the Patriots so successful, and that's why I'm also glad that Vrabel is the coach, is that it wasn't about being the rest of the league. Like I said, under Belichick, and people want the Patriots to move away from that, is that they were their own team, that they didn't follow the rest of the league. They were their own entity, and that's what I want the Patriots to get back to. Yes, your point is valid that the rest of the league has gone in that direction.
Yeah.
But like I said, the Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls without that guy, Brady. I think they can do it again.
Again, it was in the past, so we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah, Tom Brady as well. You're the greatest quarterback of all time. So,
okay. Yeah. Again, that's why we're doing a show. We're not going to agree all the time. I get where you're going on that. I just feel differently on that. Okay. Mm-hmm. We got some really good topics coming up. Let's now talk about this one. And what really excites me, Brady, and we'll talk about this in future episodes because I want to break down the team with you. We don't really have time to really go through breaking down the offense and the defense. We'll do that in a future episode. But the Patriots defense is going to change. The Belichick defense, as I explained to you, was a read and react defense. And for Patriots fans that don't understand that, I'm just going to share what that is. Basically, it's a 2-gapping defense, meaning that when the defensive linemen are engaging, they are engaging with the offensive linemen, and then they're looking where the play is going, and then they go either to the left or to the right. They are picking a gap. That's what they have done for years. It's more of a conservative style defense. Mm-hmm. It has worked fantastic for the Patriots. I've had my issues with it because it's not aggressive. It's conservative. Well, Vrabel now comes in, brings in a defensive coordinator that is extremely aggressive, and now the Patriots are going to be going upfield. They're not going to be looking to read and react. They're going to be going through one gap. Basically, they are going to get after the quarterback, get after the running back, and they're pushing up the field. It's a completely different style of defense. Now, it does leave you vulnerable to screens, to when you are overly aggressive, you can be taken advantage of. So there is some give and take with that. But Brady, I'm in favor of this because I've not seen an aggressive style defense for many, many years. I'll just say that right now. Probably going all the way back to Pete Carroll. That tells you how far back it goes. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this? You know the Patriots defenses under Belichick and even under Mayo, it was really the same style. This is the polar opposite. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. I think, the Patriots were in the basement last year in terms of sacks. They think they only had like 28 or something, which is very uncharacteristic. And I think overall the defense just really wasn't good because it wasn't explosive. I like that they're going with Terrell Williams with this more aggressive style front, rushing the quarterback, making sure that he gets hit hard, gets hit down. And I just like it a lot.
Okay, very good.
And I'm excited for it too. Yeah.
I am too. I have to share this comment from Steve because he really enjoyed that, Brady. Thank you very much for making Steve's day.
Yeah. You're welcome, Steve.
Okay. So, and it's funny because this is something Steve and I have talked a lot about. And it's something that him and I both have wanted. We've wanted the Patriots to go in this direction, Brady, because we got sick and tired of them being so conservative.
Yeah, and you talk about modernizing. I mean, this is the perfect step towards that. Just modernizing the defense with being more aggressive, going after the quarterback.
Well, let's talk about this because I think it starts with your defensive line. I think by the player that they brought in, Malcolm Williams, and then
Milton.
you have, I'm sorry, I call him Malcolm, Milton Williams. Look, there's a Goldman for you. And then, of course, you have Christian Barmore. Yeah. And you bring in Harold Landry.
Harold Landry.
And you have Keon White, which will be on the other side. So
yeah,
it's definitely going to be much more aggressive. And I think you're seeing a completely different change from what you had under Belichick, Brady.
Yeah, I think these players will be able to thrive in this style of defense. I mean, Christian Barmore, Keon White, they'll be able to go after the quarterback a lot more, get a lot more sacks. You'll have Harold Landry and Milton Williams, just two monsters on that defensive front. I really like it, and I think that they'll do pretty well in this.
I agree, Brady. Like I said, we'll dive more into talking about the personnel of the Patriots in an upcoming episode. But I wanted just to start by talking about the Patriots defense because that's what excites me. And at the end of the show, we'll talk about our expectations for the upcoming season. We definitely will. But let's move on. Coming up next, Brady and I have a couple more topics that we'll be discussing in the second half of the show.
Getting a call there?
Okay, Brady, let's go on. And you and I were basically talking about on Friday. I actually purposely had you listen and watch early edition on Comcast Sportsnet New England. Okay. And what's interesting about it is I've been complaining about the media coverage with the Patriots for years.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about what we watched Friday night?
Nah, it's whatever. I mean, the coverage is the coverage. At the end of the day, the media does not really impact the product put on the field. I don't really care for it, to be honest. I don't really pay attention. I haven't really paid attention really since I'd say probably pre-pandemic with the media, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Most of it is speculation. So, yeah.
So that doesn't bother you like it bothers me?
Really, no. I'm on Twitter all the time, just like you, and I don't really care.
Okay. So what's interesting is that, like I said, the way that I look at it, like I said, it does bother me, and it has bothered me for a long time. But you know what? That's why we have a podcast that we can talk about it the way that we want to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
And we don't have to worry about how the media are looking at it. We're going to do it a little bit differently, and that's why we do a podcast. It's the reason why Steve, Derek, and Mike Debate do their podcast. Is that it's a chance for us to share our views. I just, again, what do you feel about all the negativity?
Again, I don't really care. I think the negativity is pretty dumb because, again, it doesn't impact what happens on the football field. I think everyone in New England is just trying to feel down about the Patriots, and then when they're actually getting good free agents, and we're talking about Stephon Diggs and his pink substance, and I just think it's dumb. I don't get it. I know it's just for TV, but it really doesn't mean much.
No, it doesn't. It's funny, Brady. I will mention this because we have certain media coverage, right? And I say it's specific to Boston. How do I know this? You and I went up to the Big Jab up in Maine, and
Yeah.
we listened to the Big Jab as we're driving up. And I enjoyed that very much. The guys up in Maine do a great job because you know what they do? They actually talk about sports. They
Yeah.
talk about the games.
Yeah. Not what's happening off the field.
No, and that's what is, I guess, disappointing for me is that when we made that drive up so you can meet the guys from the Big Jab and listening to their show, I remember them talking about the Red Sox and talking specifically about a game from the other night, and I'm thinking, when's the last time I heard Boston sports radio talk about an actual game?
Yeah.
Because they don't do that, but these guys do a great job, and that goes back to doing the podcast and doing the way that we do it. We're not going to do it the way they do it, and I'm glad that it doesn't bother you, but it drives the crap out of me. But
Yeah.
Steve's watching, and I'll guarantee he's like, Russ can't stand it.
Yeah, and ironically, you told me to ignore the noise, so I do. Yeah, you can't ignore it.
I can't. That's actually a very
Get off
good
social
point.
media, Russ.
You're gonna keep calling me Russ. It's gonna drive me crazy. Okay, all right, Brady. Couple more topics for our very first episode. Okay, so let's go back to, I think, the number one topic for not just our show, but for the season and moving forward with the New England Patriots, because I think in a future episode I want to talk about the draft. I want to talk about the free agents and what Mike Vrabel is building. All of that is important for this upcoming season. But the biggest piece is talking about Drake May, because I don't think it means anything unless he develops to becoming an elite quarterback in the NFL. It might not happen this season, but they have to know that they have the guy. So I think this is the topic for not just this year, but for years to come. Do you have any concerns about Drake May heading into the season? I want to get your thoughts. I'll share mine after that.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot from OTAs that he's still kind of having the turnover problems that he did last year. That's really my biggest concern because, of course, that kind of destroyed Mac Jones, was the stupid turnovers, the dumb decisions. I don't think Drake May makes decisions like Mac Jones did. I think he's a lot smarter of a player. Of course, he's got to stop, running and not diving when he turns upfield. That if he gets injured again, if he gets another concussion, that's another big concern for me. It's just staying healthy. He's a gadget, or not a gadget quarterback, but a dual threat quarterback that has the ability to run and throw deep downfield. So those are my two big concerns. I just cannot have him throwing 3 picks a game, because that's how you become a winning quarterback, by not turning the ball over.
Okay, and I'm glad that you mentioned the turnovers, because part of it, and this is my concern, Brady, and listen, I listened to a very good podcast with Evan Lazar and his partner, and they were talking about and again, I believe it's the Catch 22 podcast, very good podcast that's on Patriots.com. And when I heard this term, it really concerned me. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit what they were talking about, but they're talking about Drake May, that they want him to be like this gunslinger. Whenever I hear the term gunslinger, I'm thinking, no.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Mahomes.
They're
winning quarterbacks.
But the number one gunslinger of all time is actually Brett Favre, Brady. Yeah. Brett Favre won a Super Bowl, had a cannon of an arm. And a quarterback that I'll put in that category too, that actually I enjoyed watching, was Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe was a little bit of a gunslinger too. Mm-hmm. And it can be good up to a point. Can a gunslinger win you a Super Bowl? Well, he can. We've seen that actually with Patrick Mahomes. He's won multiple. Yeah. But the issue that I have even with Mahomes, and I think Mahomes is the best quarterback, the best player in the NFL right now, but he can be stopped. You want to know why? Because if you rush him in a certain way and you force him to stay in the pocket and make decisions, well, you can get to him. Yeah. And again,
2 Super Bowls we saw that.
2 Super Bowls we saw that.
Yeah.
And again, we're spoiled here. I named you after the greatest player to ever play the game. in Tom Brady, but I want Drake May to be more Brady than he is Bledsoe, than he is Mahomes. I want him than Josh Allen. I want him to be the quarterback. And the quarterback in Pittsburgh right now. I definitely do not want him to be him.
We don't want him to be Aaron Rodgers. No.
Do not want him to be Aaron Rodgers. Now,
No.
he has the ability, because whenever I hear that Drake May has the ability to extend plays, I think that's fine in certain situations, but I don't want that to be his game, Brady. This is my concern. I want him. That's why I'm so glad that Josh McDaniels is his offensive coordinator, because I think he will put him in those positions that he had with Brady, Castle. Like I said, Cam Newton, you even mentioned Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Put him in the situations where he's going to make those decisions, those right decisions. Can he extend plays? Yes, but I don't want that to be his game, Brady. I want him to be the cerebral quarterback that makes the decisions, because ultimately the best decision maker is the best quarterback, Brady.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So that's my concern going into the season, is will he be the decision maker that we need him to be? He has the right coordinator. That's my concern, because last season he was this gunslinger. He, as you hear that term, off platform, right? You hear, oh, he's great off platform. Yeah. That's fine in certain situations.
Sure gave us some good highlights.
It'll give you great highlights, but
we'll win you games.
But you just mentioned, if you rely on that, guess what happens? You get a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
And you can make some bad decisions because you are relying on that arm.
Yeah, that's really how Mahomes started winning. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's how Mahomes became a winning quarterback, because he made better decisions. You need a QB that makes good decisions in order to win games. Josh Allen too. It's rookie year. He made horrible mistakes. I mean, we both thought that he was never going to be anything, and then year 2, all of a sudden he can throw the ball 60 yards downfield without throwing an interception, and he did it much more accurately and prolifically. You just need to make good decisions. I mean, that's bottom line.
Right, Brady. You need to be making the right decisions. You need to be making the right calls at the line of scrimmage. If you feel that you don't have the right play, you have an alternate play you go to. And that comes down to the quarterback, and he needs to make the right decisions. When you rely so much on your talent, that's when I think it gets you into trouble. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre are examples of quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, but ultimately, can they win you multiple Super Bowls? Obviously, neither one have been able to do that, and there's a reason for it. And Josh Allen, and again, one of the reasons why Josh Allen has upped his game was Brian Daboll. And who did Brian Daboll coach? I don't know. He coached a player by the name of Brady. He was part of that Patriots coaching staff with McDaniels. So he had that background. And I think he honed Josh Allen to take what the defense gives you. And that's how I thought Josh Allen became a better quarterback. Daboll leaves, and guess what? He becomes the gunslinger again. Yeah. So for me, that's why I think it's important that we have McDaniels back there that will hone the skills and the mindset of Drake May. I'm hopeful that Drake May will take that next step, Brady. But this, to me, is the story of the Patriots season. Can Drake May take to the coaching of Josh McDaniels and become the cerebral quarterback and not the gunslinger?
Only time
what do you
will
think
tell.
of that?
I mean, we'll see. I hope he does, go away from that gunslinger model. But yeah, we'll see. Can't really predict anything right now. I mean, we're so far away from week 1, but it'll really go game by game.
Okay, very good there, Brady. All right, to finish up the show, and like I said, this is our very first episode, and I hope you enjoyed it, Brady. I know I enjoyed doing this.
Yeah, it was awesome.
A lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. But to end, I just want to talk about expectations for the upcoming season, because Because what's great here is that you and I, we can do the show whenever we want to do it, whenever we have time to do a show. We're going to do shows, and it should be fun to do it with you. But I really haven't even talked to you about this. What are your expectations heading into the season? What are you thinking? You don't have to give me a record, but what do you think? How are you feeling about the Patriots' upcoming season?
Yeah, so right now, of course, the Patriots, they have a pretty easy schedule, one of the easiest in the NFL. A lot of people are already giving them those wins, but remember, the Patriots lost to a lot of very bad teams last year. And before I think really giving a record, we need to see them be able to beat those teams. Of course, you have the Raiders in week 1. That's not a win yet because we don't really know what this Patriots offense is going to look like. So to me, I mean, best case scenario, I have them at 10-7. Floor maybe around 7-10. They're not going to be as bad as last year. I can tell you that. They're going to improve. They have a much better coaching staff, much better roster now with the players they add in free agency and the draft. Hopefully those players can develop. You also have second-year guys, maybe with some potential. We always talk about, can Jalen Polk finally become a good receiver? It was really, to put it straight, pretty bad last year.
Right.
But again, only time will tell with what we see. The Patriots just need to establish that winning formula again. Once they start beating these worst teams, they start beating the New Orleans of the league, the Las Vegas, the Atlanta Falcons, then I can really get confident and say this team's a playoff team.
Okay. So for me, and I agree with you on that. You want to basically show me that you've improved, and I expect them, Brady, to improve. I'm not going to give you a record yet because I want to see what it looks like in training camp. We'll go down to training camp. We'll check them out, and then we'll watch the preseason games. On paper, the schedule's easy, right? On paper,
Yeah.
But so you're thinking that they should be much better. They should have, everyone has them between, 9 to 10 wins. I'm not going to make a prediction yet. I'll wait till I actually see what they have. But I'm excited because I feel like this is a completely new team, new culture, new everything.
Yeah.
There's hope, right?
There's excitement.
There's excitement. That to me is what I want to talk about for this upcoming season. But it'll all come down to, I hate to say it, all this will mean nothing if they don't get an improvement from the quarterback. If we see Drake May make that step forward, Brady, then the upcoming seasons are going to be pretty exciting because I think that they have the potential to build something special. And that to me is what it's about. We're Patriots fans. We've had a lot of good times in our history. But I remember way before you were born when the Patriots were horrible. And now, unfortunately, You're seeing that for the past several seasons. You're seeing what I grew up with. So I want to get back to enjoying football again. And guess what, Brady? I think we're going to have that.
I hope so.
Okay. Well, listen, before we go, anything else you want to talk about for the upcoming shows? Anything else that interests you that you want to talk about as we get going, talking about the Patriots this season?
Just really hopeful for this season. Of course, this is pure speculation for now. We're not even at training camp. We don't even know how good these players can be. Of course, we have so many promising rookies on this roster. I think we're not talking about the draft yet, but I think the Patriots had an amazing draft. They really addressed the needs. They had Travion Henderson, the explosive running back that you finally needed. You got Kyle Williams, who had a pretty viral moment against, Travis Hunter, the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. Also had a crazy highlight against your alma mater, Syracuse, and a school that I would like to go to. But I just think lots of excitement going into the season, and I'm pretty optimistic to how it's going to unfold.
You had to throw Syracuse in there as a negative. You had to do that. You wouldn't be my son if you didn't do that. Okay.
Should I just say Keith Smart right now? Should I just say that?
Okay. I guess it's time to end the show. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed doing this with you, Brady, and we'll be doing several episodes coming up, and I hope everyone enjoys a brand new podcast. It's father and son talking Patriots. I don't know anyone else that's doing it, so I think it's going to be fun to do and fun to share with everyone. But that's going to do it for this episode He's Brady Goldman. I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Patriots 4th and 2, the new generation.